So with that, Tom, I'd like to introduce Tom Mitchell. And come on up, Tom, and take the stand here. Let's give Tom a big hand. Tom? Okay.
Thank you, Al. I'm here tonight to basically go over our Golden Valley Ranch project. So I was going to just give a brief background about Pardee Homes. Then I was going to go through the current status of the Golden Valley project. And then we're in the process of applying for an application to actually gate the Golden Valley project. So I was going to go through what that gating application would entail and what changes that would bring to the community. And then I was going to open it up to questions. Hopefully I would provide enough information that everybody understands what's going on, and you can ask, and hopefully I can answer those questions. And if not, we can take your information and we'll try to get you an answer. So with that, I've personally worked with Pardee for 8 years. I'm filling in tonight for Jim because he's worked for Pardee for 22 years before moving on to Newhall. I think Pardee is a great company to work for. We've been building communities for over 87 years, and we've been in the Santa Clarita Valley for over 30. We've built properties such as Lantana Hills, Sunset Heights, Coventry, Brookshire, Kentwood, and we're currently building out at Fair Oaks Ranch, where we have a master plan community. We've also been recognized by America's Best Builder as a national builder, the state and federal and government agencies for our Living Smart communities, for being green. We've also been a longtime supporter in the Santa Clarita area in like Santa Clarita Valley Youth Education and other community organizations. So with that, I'll move into Golden Valley. I don't have an overview slide, so I was going to hold this up and hopefully everybody can see it. It is the residential portion of Golden Valley. This happens to be right adjacent to the new Golden Valley Commercial Center. At the end of Via Princesa and Golden Valley are Lost Canyon and Golden Valley. It consists of 498 homes. There's 4 different product types plus a senior component of 95 homes. There's an elementary school, and then there's also a trailhead park within this community. Now, this project has already been approved, and the maps have been recorded, and the pads have been rough graded. So all of that is already complete. What we're proposing to the city is that we would come in with adding gates to the residential component of the community. And these homes are pretty much terraced as you come up the hill, so they all have very good views down out through the valley. And the elementary school has already been built, and it's fully occupied. It's been, I think, in operation for 2 or 3 years. So with that, I guess I'll get into the specifics of the gating. Really, the changes are very minor. Can you bring up the first slide? This is actually, if you were coming up Via Princesa and you pass Golden Valley Road, you would continue up Via Princesa up into the residential community. The elementary school happens to be right down there where it says Golden Valley on this slide, and the senior component would be on the other side. And we're proposing that that street would be no longer, I guess it's actually the reverse. The elementary school is on the top portion of the slide, and the senior site would be on the, I guess, the right-hand side. And we're proposing that instead of Via Princesa continuing through on the community, it would be a cul-de-sac or a roundabout there, and that would block off access into the residential component, but it would also allow the general public to still have full access to the school facility. We're also adding in a trail switchback that would give pedestrian access up into the community from the school. If you go to the next slide. This would be at the intersection of Golden Valley and Via Princesa. Golden Valley would be up at the very top of the slide, and Via Princesa is the one that runs down through the middle of the slide. If you continue down that, the school would be on your lower right corner. We would be adding a gated element right there on Marsh & McLean Parkway that would block general access into the residential portion. And we would be adding in a trailhead park, which would have parking for horse trailers and access to the general public to the trails that would be within the project. Then go to the next slide. This would be where the trailhead was originally proposed within the community. It was up in the, I guess, the south western portion of the project. We are now just going to make that a passive park, and then we're moving that, what was the trailhead park there, down to the gated entry. And then there's, I don't think we have a slide of it today, but there's actually one other gate, which I have a exhibit here on, and this would be the main gated entry for the community. And this is as you would come up into the community from Lost Canyon as it comes into Golden Valley. As you were doing that, there'd be the Lowe's and the Chili's was on your left-hand side, and the Target would be on your right-hand side. That would be down in this area. You would come directly into what is called Oakcrest Drive, and we'd have a main gated facility here that would block off vehicle access to the residential portion. So that's pretty much the extent of the changes. I guess at that, I'll just open it up to questions if anybody has questions or any, yeah.
My name's Lynn Planbeck, and I'm the president of Santa Clarita Organization for Planning and the Environment, and congratulations on getting past all the financial stuff and actually getting to your project. I know it's been a long haul. When they approved that project, they needed someone to hold the conservation easement on the 900 acres, and that's us. We hold the conservation easement. And I would just like to understand how the public is going to actually get to the hiking trails, because one of the big selling points for that project approval was this 900 acres that people would be able to hike in, and it looks like there's kind of a long trek to even get into it. And are you going to provide adequate parking at the trailhead, and could you explain how you're going to handle that, because that's a pretty big concern for adding a gate.
Yeah, so if you go back to the previous slide. This would be open to the vehicle access from the general public. This is a trailhead park that would have a trail connection that would go down and tie into the general trails up within the open space. And there would be vehicle parking within that area.
How far is it to the trail from where you have to park?
Well, the trail would start immediately there after the parking lot. It would take you down into, I don't know which trail you're speaking about, but there's a new trail connection.
Oh, okay. Would you mind mailing us a map of this, or making sure you notify us when it's going to come up to the...
We could put together an exhibit for you.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other questions?
Why the change to a gated community in the first place?
Was the question why change it to a gated community? I think that generally the feeling was that these are very attractive lots that we tried to market it towards clientele that would like the gated element, and I think that's pretty much the reason.
Are the gated community is for the future building, not the current neighborhoods? Is that correct?
Well, the current neighborhoods are already recorded. We're just asking for the additional option of gating that existing development.
Now, do residents realize that after it's gated, that they are responsible for the streets?
Yeah, so the streets in this proposal would be going from public streets to private streets, and the HOA would have the obligation to maintain those streets.
And when is the senior development going to begin? When is the commencement?
I don't know when we would be commencing. We would be going through this process, and the start of the community is really going to depend on the market and more when that makes sense to start. Any other questions?
Yep. I just have one question. Why a passive park and not an active park?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think it's because it was an additional amenity that we had space for, and it was thought that it would be kind of tie in with the open space that's adjacent to it. Okay.
Would you consider this whole area is extremely deficient in active parkland? So would you consider going back and looking at the possibility of an active park instead of a passive park?
I think we could take a look at that. That wasn't our original thought, but we can always analyze things.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Let's give Tom a big hand.